This podcast holds nothing sacred. This is Life, Tech, and Sundry. And what is Sundry? It's our experiences put in a melting pot to the internet. So join us on this wild ride called the LTS Podcast. Follow us at LT Sundry on Twitter, LTS.pod on Instagram, Life, Tech, and Sundry on YouTube, and all your favorite podcast distribution services. Stay frosty.
The culinary physics of mayonnaise. Every time you build your favorite sandwich, you take a knife and lather a smooth, compact blanket of flavor across a slice of bread. But that velvety spread is packed with far more than just rich, savory flavor. It's infused with centuries of international conflict and chemical defiance, turning every single bite into an actual taste of history, a monument to defiance, to resilience, to improvisation. Beneath that simple jar lid lies a multi-century story of star-crossed culinary lovers. Two ingredients from warring houses forced to move into a tiny studio apartment, share a bed, and live in absolute perfect, in quotes if you will, harmony. You are staging a literal tragedy against the laws of thermodynamics to force liquid fat and water-based acid into an unbreakable alliance forged in, you guessed it, a military siege warfare in more than one way, advanced by chemical science and engineering specifically, and structural sandwich architecture. I do dare say myself. I'm your host, Marcos Lopez, and you've tuned into LTS Out of Office, the show where we pull back the curtain on everyday items you take for granted to reveal the bizarre, I do say, science hidden in plain sight. So adjust your goggles, make sure to wash your hands, and button up your lab coat. Now let's slice in, or grab that knife to lather up the history, starting with the origin story, a military siege and culinary theft, kicking things off by rolling back the clock to the 18th century because mayonnaise wasn't invented in a corporate food laboratory. It was forged in the crossfires of an international military conflict. You thought I was kidding when I said that in the intro, that it was forged in the military siege? Well, here's your story. In 1756, during the 7-Year War, French forces captured Port Mahon on the Spanish island of Minorca. The Duke's chef was tasked with preparing a massive victory banquet, but realized the island was completely devoid of cream. So, what did this chef do? Well, faced with a culinary disaster, the chef improvised by substituting local Mediterranean olive oil and raw eggs as the cream. The resulting sauce was deemed an absolute masterpiece. French chefs always gonna say they're making their Mona Lisa, right? And I guess they did with mayo. And the chef named it Mayonnaise, or mayonnaise, to honor the military victory. Now, there was a protest specifically by the Spanish. Spanish culinary historians fiercely contested this French legend, claiming the narrative is a case of high seas imperial plagiarism. With their counterclaim, they assert that the sauce was a long-standing indigenous peasant staple known as salsa mayonnaise, which the French simply documented and stole, allegedly. Now, let's break down the name, the etymology. Other competing linguistic theories suggest the name evolved from entirely different regional roots. Some argue it comes from Mayonnaise, after the French city of Bayonne, or from Mayo, an old French word meaning egg yolk. Pardon my French, by the way. Not a French speaker here. The dispute shows that a simple condiment can become the center of intellectual property war between European empires. The historical dispute is exactly like the opening scene of Indiana Jones. The French chef proudly runs out of the Mediterranean temple, clutching a golden jar of condiment success, completely ignoring the fact that the indigenous population had already built the entire trap. Now, how does this become a star-crossed fate? Well, the two opposing factions of oil and water were violently pulled into the same kitchen space by sheer military coincidence, like Montague and Capulet. These ingredients were never meant to cross paths, yet historical chaos forced a union that would change the culinary world forever. Now, establishing a disputed military origin story is one thing, but the true miracle of the condiment isn't the historical pedigree. It's the absolute witchcraft, if I do say so myself, of its chemical engineering, starting with the chemistry of forcing hostile worlds to merge. To understand the science of mayonnaise, we have to look at the boundary problem, the natural hostile rejection that occurs when you try to mix lipid fats with water-based acids. Oil is fundamentally hydrophobic. Thus, you having oiled canvases, paints, all those different things to make it hydrophobic, if you will. Meaning, it fears waters, in simpler words, right? While vinegar and lemon juice are hydrophilic, meaning they love water. If you shake them together violently, they will temporarily mix, but the moment kinetic energy dissipates, the oil droplets merge and separate back into their independent warring factions. The molecular mediator. Try saying that 5 times in a row. To achieve permanent peace, the mixture requires phospholipid. Phospholipid, a chemical ambassador known as a phospholipid surfactant. I'm gonna keep this struggle into the story because even though I wrote it, these words sound different once you say it out loud. So, the mayonnaise finds this mediator in lecithin, an amphiphilic molecule that is naturally abundant inside raw egg yolks. Long story short, you need egg yolks to make mayonnaise. The dual nature. Lecithin possesses a brilliant split personality, molecular structure that allows it to hold hands with both enemies at the same time. It features a lipophilic tail that binds directly to the oil droplets and a hydrophilic head that locks onto the water acid base. When you introduce high-speed mechanical homogenization, the liquid oil is shattered into billions of microscopic droplets. Why not just say an emulsor? It takes a true boy genius configuration of physics to force this blend. You are essentially building a microscopic fortress where science and chaos collide to lock the fluids into a dense, thick, spreadable gel. Yeah, emulse it. Basically make it into an emulsor. You can add some mustard, never forget about the egg yolk, and your oils. Some lemon for flavor, black pepper. There you go. You got your homemade mayonnaise. The emulsion completely alters the physical behavior of low viscosity fluids without altering their chemical traits. This molecular setup is exactly like the scene in Batman Begins, where Wayne Enterprises built a high-tech armor plating system. Lecithin acts as the advanced composite layer, wrapping around the vulnerable oil droplets so they can withstand the environmental pressure without breaking down. Mastering a permanent oil in water emulsion by hand is an exact, unforgiving science where greed instantly destroys the experiment. If you pour the oil into the egg base even a fraction of a second too quickly, the lecithin gets completely overwhelmed. The delicate bond suffers a premature death, and you are left with a greasy, broken puddle of useless liquid. But there are some YouTubers that I want to share with you, maybe a link in the description, where he just makes a whole live stream of this making different types of mayonnaise combination. I found it interesting. Maybe it's not for you. Still gonna put it there in the description. He makes it there live for you. It's funny what inspired me to do this episode, but here you go. Links in the description. Now, locking down a stable chemical emulsion in a jar isn't the end of the line. The true genius of this gel matrix shines when you deploy it as a highly functional engineering asset on a slice of bread. With the latest segment, it's called the architecture, sandwich engineering, and global variations. To wrap this episode up, we need to talk about sandwich physics, structural moisture barriers, and how different global cultures alter this cold mother sauce. When you apply mayo directly onto a slice of bread, you are executing a precise waterproofing operation. The high fat gel fills the porous starch matrix of the bread with a hydrophobic layer, completely blocking water from migrating out of wet ingredients like tomatoes or lettuce. It's also known as the culinary adhesive mayo, by the way, because of its high viscosity and pseudoplastic gel traits. It serves as an elite structural binder. It locks loose footprints together in deli salads like tuna, chicken, or potato salad. It holds complex sandwich layers in perfect alignment or to the liking of the sandwich maker, a palate lubricant. On a sensory level, the emulsion coats the human palate, facilitating easier chewing and, you guessed it, swallowing the texture. It provides crucial lubrication that counteracts incredible dry lean proteins like turkey breast, or dense artisanal starches, the cold mother sauce. In classical French gastronomy, mayo isn't viewed as a finished product. It is treated as a neutral, highly stable base canvas. By introducing specific additions into the established matrix, effortlessly transforms into vital secondary sauces like aioli, tartar sauce, or remoulade. You can't forget about the intrusive variable. Entering the commercial space means guarding your architecture blueprint from outside interference that threatens to ruin the consistency. You can design the most perfect culinary matrix imaginable in your private facility, but the second an uninvited guest trips over your parameters, your structural integrity goes completely out the window. Using a complex chemical emulsion as a basic spread can easily backfire if the architectural order of the sandwich is mismanaged. The reality check. Architecture feels like the contaminant grid shutdown in Ghostbusters. The second you put the mayo in the wrong layer, an absolute disaster of soggy bread is unleashed onto your plate. The story of mayonnaise proves that the most profound scientific breakthroughs are often sitting right inside your refrigerator door. What started as a chaotic wartime kitchen improvisation has evolved into a masterclass of structural food engineering that holds the modern culinary landscape together. If this deep dive into the chemical warfare and sandwich architecture of mayonnaise gave you a healthy dose of kitchen enlightenment, hit that subscribe button, share this episode, and tell me in the comments, are you team mayo or do you like to keep your bread entirely dry? Keeping these independent, zero fluff briefings running takes a massive amount of delicious sorting and a genuinely delicious amount of caffeine. So if you want to support the show, check out the Buy Me a Coffee link down in the description. Until next time, stay structured, watch out for the broken emulsions, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Never forget to wash your hands. Stay frosty.